The Mistborn journey continues. Hi guys, welcome back, bienvenue and all that jazz. It's time to talk about book. Or in particular, today we're talking The Well of Ascension, Book 2 in the Era 1 of Mistborn by Mr. Brando Sando himself. So if you missed it, I do have a full spoiler-free review up already for Book 1, which is The Final Empire. I'll link it wherever if you want to go check out that one. So I'll give some brief general thoughts. So I'll keep spoiler-free for Book 2 itself, just like overall vibes, feels, satisfaction, all of that kind of stuff. And then I'll swap over and talk a little bit more spoilery, just vibes, because at Book 2, you don't really need me to sell it to you. If you're watching a video about Book 2 of a series, you've probably read Book 1. So let's just dive straight in, shall we? So general vibes, thoughts, feels. This book is quite different from the way that Book 1 feels. So in Book 1, we're very much rising up against the evil empire, and in Book 2, we're much more political. There's lots of scheming, lots of philosophizing about, is the political system correct? Is it not correct? Am I correct for the system? Is the system correct for me? Like all of it, all of the thoughts about the politics. And so, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, right? So if you're super into political maneuvering and politicking and that kind of stuff and like philosophy around politics, then this book will probably be right up your alley. But if you're somebody more like me, where you're like, the politics is okay. Like, I don't like dislike politicking in my books, but this was a little bit heavy-handed with it. And it wasn't necessarily the like schemy. I mean, there were elements of it being schemy, backstabby politics, but that wasn't like the main vibe. It's not like Game of Thrones style politicking where off with their heads when you screw up type stuff. But yeah, so it was just a little bit much for me because, like, I mean, this book is, in my copy, like 780 pages, and I'd say probably the first 500, 600 pages is mainly politicking. There are some action sequences, but for reasons that if you've read the book you would know, the battle sequences in that first chunk of the book don't have as high of stakes. There is the final, in true Brandon Sanderson fashion, there is the Sanderlanche, that kind of finishes off the book. That's just that exciting ride to the finish line where there's some twists and turns that you probably weren't expecting and some deepening of the lore and stuff like that. And there is sprinkled throughout, particularly in perspective of one of the characters, we do get much more information about the lore of the world. We get a little bit more about the history of the previous Hero of Ages. We get some more of the legends and backstory and find out more about what's going on in this world. But, like I said, it is kind of more focused on the political aspects. And so for those reasons, it kind of dragged my enjoyment back a little bit, but still, it's a very fun book. It is compulsively readable, and so it will be that fun ride that you're kind of looking for, but just go in knowing that it's not the kind of almost heisty antics from Book 1. It is much more of a slower pace, much more focused on the politics with sprinklings of world lore until the very end when it kind of explodes in your face. Oh. And so that will conclude the spoiler-free portion. So now we'll dive a little bit more into spoilers. So if you have not read books 1 and 2, maybe go away. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for stopping by. Love you. So now, spoilers. Yes? Spoilers. I'll put it in big letters on the screen. Ugh, I picked up a cat. So now there's cat hair everywhere. But spoilers. So this book takes place immediately following or I guess not immediately, it seems like there is some amount of time that has passed. I don't remember exactly how much. But this is following the events of Book 1. The Lord Ruler is dead. Elend is king, trying to put into place this almost like parliamentary structure where he is the king and has a voting voice on his council, but his council also has different laws and there's kind of checks and balances and stuff like that. And so a lot of this book is focused around kind of the response to the overthrowing of the Lord Ruler. There are now different groups and parties that are interested in taking over Luthadel. So Straff Venture, Elend's father, has brought an army to try to take over There's also Lord Set from a different province that has brought his army, and so there's kind of this three-way standoff, and that's what much of this book is kind of the politicking of figuring out how to deal with this fact that they're basically under siege by two foreign armies, and later on in the book, a third army comes along, and so, like, it just felt like it went on for a very long time with, to me personally, I didn't feel like a ton of payoff from like the standoffish stuff until the very end of the book. But if you are, like I said earlier in the non-spoiler part, if you are somebody who's like super into the political stuff and kind of examining the pros and cons of different political theories and stuff, then maybe this book is like perfection to you. But for me personally, it's like, okay, I get it. And while we're talking about like the political schemey part, I friggin' hate Tindwyl, and that may be an unpopular opinion. I don't know, you'll have to let me know in the comments down below if you feel similarly to me, but I feel like she's basically a bully. Like, she comes in and she's just so mean to Elend. And yes, Homeslice is pretty naive and like is probably in a position that he's not necessarily like cut out for. But like, why don't we just replace him with somebody who is cut out for it? Like, I don't know, because at least for me, like Elend in book 1 and Elend at the end of book 2, not that much time has passed, but he's basically a completely different person. And so like, I liked the kind of quiet, nerdy, shy Elend. I don't necessarily like Elend as he exists at the end of book 2, where he's just like this demanding royal figure. And I'm just like, but why? So those are like my main gripes with the book. So let's kind of shift to be a little bit more positiva, shall we? So, I really liked the deepening of the lore. So I really love it when we go to the Canton of Inquisition, where we get to see kind of the home base for the Steel Inquisitors with their weird like steel hallways. And then down in the basement, there's like that panel with writing carved into the steel plate where we get to find out more about what had happened with the previous Hero of Ages, because that tablet has the writing from the guy who proclaimed the Hero of Ages originally, and that's where we get to see some of the weirdness that's going on, and many questions will arise, because at least in book 2, we do not have the information about what is happening, how is this text being changed if it's not carved into metal, why does that matter? And so there is so much more coming, and like I have vague memories of what happens in book 3. And like I remember some of the major like very end stuff, but like how we get there, not as clear in the old noggin anymore. But there are just so many questions raised and like interesting parts of this world. We get to see a little bit more of the Kandra, which are those kind of like shape-shifting blobs that are kind of like, I don't know, almost like human gelatinous cubes with shape-shifting powers, where they can like consume the bones of other living species and then basically shape them and mimic whatever they digested the bones of, be that a dog or be that anything else really. And so some of those twists and turns, especially later on with Orasur, if you know, you know. It was like so much, just like all of those fun reveals I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed getting to see more of how ferrochemy works, with Sazed being able to use like the gravity metals and stuff, where he can like lighten himself and heavy himself, and just all of the different ways that the ferrochemical powers can be utilized in like battle situations, especially in that final Sanderlanche, where we have the Koloss basically coming to sack Luthadel, and Sazed going into like beast mode to protect that one gate. And while we're talking about Sazed, so I love Sazed. He is so sweet. He just wants to like spread religions, but then he ends up with Tindwyl, and we already know we do not stand Tindwyl on this channel because Homegirl's just a bully. But at least Sazed saw something in her and was happy with her. And then when he had to find her body, rude. Like, I mean, can Sazed just be happy, please? So there still are some of those gut punches. It is still a fast-paced ride. I really look forward to diving into book 3, The Hero of Ages, and just refreshing myself on what exactly is going on with the deities in this world, what is going on with the other magic system in this world. I need to know because I don't remember what's going on with the mists, what's going on with the weird shanky mist spirit who just wants to stab people, apparently, and I don't remember why. One moment in particular I will say that I'm still conflicted about is I don't know how I feel about Ellen becoming a Mistborn. And I remember it being really important in book 3, but at least in book 2, like I'm saying, I don't know. His journey is just so, like, abrupt feeling, and, like, it's 780 pages, so it's not that abrupt. But, like, just from him going to from that sweet, like, nerdy, like, bookworm into, like, ultimate Mistborn Lord Emperor dude, it's just like, okay. I mean, this reread has been really fun for me because, like, I really have forgotten so much, especially from books 2 and 3, where I'm like, I know I read these books because I remember the big plot beats, but everything in between, did I read it? So, while I hope you're enjoying joining me along this journey, if you have any favorite moments from Era 2, if they are spoilery, just put spoilers and then a bunch of spaces and then say whatever you want. I'm happy to chat spoilers in the comments down below. If you have a favorite moment from The Well of Ascension, please let me know in the comments down below. Or if you want to fight me in the streets about that bully bitch Tinwil, while you're down there, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already to see more bookish shenanigans like this from moi. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!